So far today, we've served 570 people across the DMARC pantries. Food insecurity. People without reliable access to a sufficient quantity of affordable, nutritious food. People who are food insecure are without sufficient access to a sufficient quantity of affordable, nutritious food. And there are basically two kinds of categories. Low food security is people who report reduced quality or variety or desirability of food. People with very low food security actually report that they're having to skip meals. We serve about 17,000 to 22,000 people a month. And November is always our highest month. Low-income households tend to not stay terribly stable. They recombine. If you're a child, you may be living with mom this month. 6 months from now, you may be living with your aunt or your grandmother. But it's not just children. It's just a population that doesn't stay in one place and doesn't stay in one household configuration. They move around a lot. And for a year, we feed more than 50,000 people if you count every one of them once. So we're feeding them at a rate of 17 or 18,000 a month, but they don't all come every month. We're feeding about 10% of Polk County. So about 10% of Polk County will be through the doors of one of our pantries by the end of a year. All of our pantries right now are choice pantries. You can still only come once a month to get the healthy box of food that is behind the counter, but there's food every day in front of the counter. So you can actually come every day. Usually about 35% of the people that we serve are 17 and under. So about 35% are children. About 10% are retired or receiving Social Security. About 10% are on disability. 20% are working. 7% are students or stay-at-home parents, or they're staying at home to care for an adult, or they're receiving unemployment. About 18% are unemployed. The vast majority of our clients are either not old enough to work, too old to work, or working. So it actually makes rational economic sense for some families to stay home because the cost of their child care is more than they can make. 77% of our clients are below 100% of poverty. Do you know what 100% of poverty is for one person? It's $12,000. $12,140. So 77% of our clients are below 100% of poverty. It actually takes somewhere between 200 and 250% of poverty to be sustainable without any kind of assistance. So that's where food pantry users live. Drake neighborhood, can you spot the Drake neighborhood? As rent becomes more expensive in the entire community, food pantry usage goes up. For the first 4 months of this year, our usage was increasing by double digits compared to the same month of last year. But when the economy tanked, people came out of the woodwork to donate to food pantries. When people have a sense, and that's where most of us operate, we're not operating out of real knowledge, we're operating out of some sense, right? When people have a sense that the economy is good, there's no urgency. And so they do not come out of the woodwork to donate. In terms of actually solving food insecurity, money, your dollar will go a lot further in my hands than it will go in your hands. I would rather you come to a pantry so that you can be successful in your own terms, rather than not being able to succeed because we made you feel ashamed. We need to do something to lift up the importance that we attach to your getting nutritious food. We have to build actual community. We have to be with each other.
I'm going to thank Sarah, please.